The elusive, mysterious, and honestly nail-biting Bo Horvat trade dilemma has finally come to an end. Ladies and gentlemen, Bo Horvat is a New York Islander. That's right, the guy who was supposed to be a New Jersey Devil but got sent to Vancouver before getting drafted in the Corey Schneider deal has been traded. He's been traded to Long Island in exchange for, wait for this, Anthony Beauvillier, prospect Aatu Raty, and a 2023 first-round pick, which becomes an unprotected 2024 first-round pick if it ends up in the top 12. I've seen some polls already on social media to discuss the winner of this trade, but man, can't you believe that it actually happened? We all knew that Bo Horvat was going to get traded at some point, but who could really guess that the Islanders would be the team that lands him? We saw some fans literally begging Lou Lamoriello. I mean, literally, there's a tweet showing a video of a fan telling Lou Lamoriello to get Horvat, and they finally done it. I honestly think that if we look at the Islanders side of this trade, it was worth getting him. Their best player right now in terms of production is Brock Nelson, who has 46 points. With Bo Horvat's 31 goals and 23 assists tallying 54 points, he now becomes the team's leading point scorer and goal scorer. What an absolute change of scenery here on Long Island to have two former captains, if you count Zach Parise as well, a 20-plus goal scorer on the team, and a guy who's having a career year right now on a rental contract. We talked about Horvat a lot in the previous video, so I won't really delve into him much, but could this be the piece for the Islanders to ultimately push through and lock a playoff spot? They're currently 2 points out of the last playoff spot owned by Pittsburgh and are behind Buffalo, who trails by 1 point, so this ultimately could be anyone's win. I like the idea of the Islanders getting him, but there are so many questions racing through my mind in terms of how this affected the past and also the future. If the Islanders don't make the playoffs, do we blame Lou Lamoriello for not making this trade sooner? To be fair, the Islanders have lacked scoring talent for over a year, as we saw their complete meltdown last year. The loss of Jordan Eberle and Nick Leddy were huge, and they just seem to be completely lost. If the Islanders come just short of making the playoffs, it would be pretty evident that Horvat was their key to success. Now think regardless what happens to the Islanders, do they go ahead and sign Bo Horvat to an extension? Remember that this is his final year on that $5.5 million deal, and he will become an unrestricted free agent this summer. To make matters worse, not a single player on the roster is a pending UFA. They are all either gone next summer or years later, which could cause an issue. We should be ready to see the Isles make trades either now, during the deadline, or maybe during draft night. Just somewhere from now until the market opens up. If we see them getting rid of guys who are just not really helping the team anymore and have really bad contracts like Josh Bailey or Kyle Palmieri, this could open up some cap relief for the Islanders. Let's actually take Bailey and Palmieri for example. Both of them make $5 million annually, and neither of them have managed to get 20 points yet. These are contracts that should have been wiped out earlier this season. If those two guys are gone, the Islanders can not only re-sign a more talented Bo Horvat, but they can also go ahead and get other free agents who are potentially just as good. Just imagine Bo Horvat and Matt Barzal for the years to come if Horvat decides to stay here. He's having a great year and Barzal has always been a superstar, so this could pan out really well in New York. But then let's talk about the Canucks side of this trade because they got quite the load from the Islanders. Lamoriello is paying a hefty price, which could be a really risky move in the end. They got Anthony Beauvillier, Aatu Raty, and a first-round pick in 2023. Aatu Raty, who has a very funny name, again, like all Finnish players, he just played his 12th NHL game with the club and was considered the organization's top prospect and is in the first year of his 3-year entry-level deal. Beauvillier is 25 years old and is considered a player with potential, though he struggled immensely on Long Island for the past few years. Plus, trading away their first-rounder makes it possible that the Islanders will go 4 seasons without a first-round pick, though the conditions could change that. The reasoning for such a risky trade is because, look, yes, Horvat is having a great year, may score 50-plus goals, but there's absolutely no proof he's going to do it again. Chris Kreider, for example, since I'm a Rangers fan, he put up 52 goals last year, but this year his chances of doing it again are almost zero. What if Horvat ends up hitting pay dirt in the offseason with the Islanders and then pulls a Kreider where he declines? Not only does this part hurt the Islanders, but what if Anthony Beauvillier just magically finds his game again? He was absolutely great in junior, where in the QMJHL he recorded 94 and 79 points in 2 respective seasons. He also represented Canada in the 2018 World Juniors and then in the 2018 World Cup, but he didn't really do much there. He's been in the NHL since the 2016-17 season and has mostly been a 30 to 40 point player. However, he was pretty good in the Isles back-to-back Eastern Conference runs in 2020 and 2021, notching 14 and 13 points respectively. I still remember that overtime goal against Tampa to force Game 7. That was purely electric, man. But either way, he's only 25 years old as mentioned earlier, therefore his big years come now. This could backfire the Islanders if Beauvillier finds a new edge to himself and is able to become, say, a 40 to 50 point player first. This would seriously help Vancouver as he carries a $4.15 million contract for this year and next year, and then he's a free agent, and if he's not going to be able to put up 40 plus points, then this contract may be a bit of an overpay. I would expect Beauvillier to be placed on the JT Miller line with Connor Garland for now, since there's no Tanner Pearson for the rest of the year with that hand injury, and Ilya Mikheyev is done for the year with a torn ACL. Unless better players come to Vancouver via trades, expect Beauvillier to be in the top 6. Now comes Aatu Raty, who is getting his first taste of NHL action this year. As said previously, he's the Islanders' best prospect, or should I say he was their best prospect. He was playing in Finland last year on a loaner where he put up 40 points, 13 of those being goals and 27 assists. He played a few games in Long Island and scored 2 goals before being sent down to the AHL in Bridgeport. He got 15 points there before getting sent to Vancouver. So now the question holds. Do we see Aatu Raty getting a spot on the Canucks defense immediately? There's no really guarantee, as 5 out of the 6 guys currently playing have established their roles on the team. We see Ethan Bear, Quinn Hughes, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Tyler Myers, and Luke Schenn all having cemented their roles on this team. Riley Stillman is an interesting name, and so is Tucker Pullman, who's injured. Do these guys get scratched for a young Aatu Raty, a guy with just 12 games played in the NHL? Personally, it would be really difficult for me to see a guy like that just snatch the role of a developed NHL defenseman. I think the smart idea would be to move Raty to Abbotsford for the rest of the season and, just kind of see how he does there. See if he swims or sinks. If he swims, give him more time in the AHL, but if he sinks, well, this could really backfire, because what if he wastes his time not playing in the NHL for the next 2 years and then is due for a contract, and then the Canucks would have absolutely no reason or proof to sign him, and he will go somewhere else as a developed prospect, and what if he just ends up shining somewhere else, a place that is not New York or Vancouver? This could be a loss for both teams, as the Islanders gave the Canucks Aatu Raty, and then the Canucks had absolutely no idea what to do with him. But for now, the safe move is to just see how he does in Abbotsford and then make a move in the summer. Lastly, there's that first round pick, and that first round pick is arguably the most intriguing aspect of this trade. I said in the Horvat to Bruins video that this is the deepest and most talented NHL draft class we've seen in a very, very long time. We have generational talents and elite players who can go as far as the 3rd round. The Canucks have their very own first-round pick, and the way their season has gone, it's very likely that it's going to be a top 10 pick, not to mention that they have another first-round pick thanks to the Islanders, which has reportedly been lottery protected. But be careful, because this pick will become an unprotected first in the 2024 draft if it ends up in the top 12. Meaning that if the Islanders miss the playoffs and somehow their first rounder that they gave to Vancouver is in the top 12, the pick stays in Long Island and they will give Vancouver their 2024 first round pick instead. Very interesting, honestly. But either way, let me know in the comments who you guys think won this trade. Was it the Islanders? Was it the Canucks? Or was it a win-win trade? Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thank you guys for tuning in and have a wonderful day.